Welcome to Top 3 in Cybersecurity, a bite-sized view of 3 of the most important news stories in cybersecurity this week. Now let's jump in. Coming in at number 1 this week is a report from Palo Alto Networks warning of a critical zero-day vulnerability that's being actively exploited in next-generation firewall management interfaces. Now, this flaw with a CVS score of 9.3 allows unauthenticated attackers to execute commands remotely, which is potentially altering firewall rules, intercepting traffic, all sorts of things, really. The firewall is a basic perimeter defense against attackers, and getting access into that is pretty bad. Now, this was first disclosed last week, November 8th, and no exploitation was seen until recently. Now, scanners are detecting thousands of exposed interfaces that are at risk globally, and there are no security patches available yet. So fixes are coming, but in the meantime, got to make sure you block those internet access to the management interfaces, which arguably probably shouldn't have exposed anyways. All right, coming in number 2 this week, a new malware called Glove Stealer can bypass Google Chrome's app-bound encryption, and that can steal sensitive data, including cookies, crypto wallets, 2FA tokens, kind of all of the sensitive things stored in your browser. So discovered by Gen Digital researchers, it targets Chromium-based browsers like Chrome and Edge, along with Firefox. And this malware uses phishing emails with fake error messages to trick some victims into downloading it. Now, despite being in early stages, it can steal about 280 browser extensions and 80 applications worth of data, and that includes password managers and email clients. So it does exploit a known method to decrypt Chrome's app-bound encryption keys, but does require admin privileges to operate. So while this method is relatively basic, it does highlight some evolving threats against Google's cookie encryption. And we're going to see probably more malware campaigns used against this. So make sure you are updating your browsers as soon as those updates come out. Now, coming in number 3 this week, the U.S. Department of Justice has indicted 2 hackers, Connor Riley Muka and John Aaron Burns, for breaching 165 organizations via Snowflake cloud accounts and extorting $2.5 million. So if you remember this summer, there was a large data breach kind of happening weekly and coming out of the Snowflake platform. And using stolen credentials from that malware, the pair accessed accounts, bypassing Snowflake's multi-factor authentication and stealing terabytes of data, including 50 billion customer call records from major U.S. telecoms. Now, they demanded ransoms, hiding those payments through cryptocurrency, and saw victims at AT&T, Ticketmaster, and others, supposedly impacting up to hundreds of millions of people. Now, the non-paying victims' data was sold on hacking forums, and they were arrested last week in Canada, and Binz was arrested in Turkey. Now, facing charges like wire fraud and unauthorized access, they risk up to 60 years in prison for these. Okay, that's it for this week. I hope everyone's enjoyed this bite-sized view of cybersecurity news, and I'll catch everyone next week.